Edward Sturm. Really, really enjoyed talking to Edward. Web 3.0. What do you know about cryptocurrency, the blockchain, ChatGPT, just the different variations of what's happening in those areas in Web 3.0? It's a fascinating discussion. Also, search engine optimization, SEO, and what's happening. Is the AIs, the ChatGPTs and the Bing AI and these really going to be disrupting that? Edward has a very, very interesting take on all of that. He was the first person to release a game on crypto. He had the largest meetup on the blockchain, the first largest of all time. Very, very impressive. He had viral videos that were in the millions. He was on big shows, Good Morning America, 2020, etc. But fast. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business that lasted over 25 years? Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission, how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family, in their passion, in their careers, and how it helped them. Our podcast vision, growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. Edward Sturm, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. What should we know? What should we be concerned about with Web 3.0?
Yo, with Web3, what should we be? I was actually thinking about just today. I was listening to a podcast that was recorded back in 2021, and I've been in it was called blockchain, and then crypto, and now it's called Web3, and I'm sure it will take a different name soon. And I've been in the space since 2000, the middle of 2017. Um, and what I guess I realized this, but I really, really realized this today while listening to this podcast, is that there are so many just crazy scammers and smart scammers and operators in crypto. And if someone pitches you a crypto project, just like, look, if someone pitches you a startup in general, be suspicious or anything, but crypto, be super suspicious. And it's like, so I listened to this one story um, about how common it was, and I kind of knew this, for how common it was for artists to be market makers for their own products. And so, like, okay, if you here's how it would work: you have like $2 million in Ether, and you pay some developer $5,000 to make an NFT collection for you. And then you take that $2,000 and you buy your own NFTs. Sorry, your $2 million. You take your own $2 million and you buy your own NFTs. So you still have your $2 million. I don't know if you would do it. If you do it, you wouldn't even do it through a marketplace. You wouldn't want to do that. But you would, yeah, you would still have your own $2 million, and there would be proof on the blockchain that your NFT sold for $2 million. And then you can sell them at like a big discount, $200,000. And the person who gets it, they think they're getting it at a discount. And now you have $2,200,000, and yeah, and minus the 5,000 development fees. And this was like, I mean, I've seen this over and over again with different aspects of blockchain projects, with different Web3 projects. And I think I still believe that blockchain tech is very transformative. I think it was super overhyped. I think it's also a very dangerous space. And I think many of the projects that say that they need blockchain, they don't need blockchain. They don't. And it's a lot of the use cases are unrealistic. And yeah, I don't know.
I
Do you
do.
follow the
I do.
space, or
So,
have
what are
you followed the
examples
space at
of
all?
things that should be on the blockchain?
I think blockchain is amazing to reduce middlemen in a lot of different areas, especially financial services. It's like banks pay, I think it's like 3% fees on certain transfers, and that 3% will be reduced to 0.3%, and that's enormous. Um, that's a clear case. I I'm still not
Hmm.
sold on supply chain for blockchain, funny enough, because I mean, I think the supply chain for blockchain makes a lot of sense. It makes it safer overall. It can still, like, a QR code or something can still be swapped out. There's always going to be room for human error there. I think the new ordinals on the Bitcoin blockchain is pretty cool. How like you can just I'm not torrenting, but you can just point apparently to a torrent file, and it'll just never be taken down. The file can stay up forever, and anyone can point to it, and that's neat as well. The thing about NFTs was that NFTs were supposed to be these
Right.
all of your metadata is on the blockchain, and that really wasn't the case. So many projects launched, and their artwork was not locked on the blockchain. You would get an NFT, and if the developers
Hmm.
wanted to, they could change it for like a piece of poop. And yeah, and so yeah, the financial services, I guess supply chain makes sense. We have this project called Commit. I have several
Very
several
cool.
startups, and we have this project called Commit Club, where we're trying to take basically your challenge, like your daily challenges. If you commit to a daily challenge, such as like do 20 push-ups a day, or meditate for 30 days every day for 30 days in a row, and we're taking that and putting that on the blockchain. And in the age of Instagram, where people flex and they lie all the time, you'll actually have this real record. Oh yeah, this person is legit. This person sticks to their goals. This person sticks to their promises, and it doesn't just have to be with with fitness and wellness. It could also be things like, does this like how much is this person using this app? Like,
Hmm.
things can be measured with rescue time, or yeah, it'd be like, or how many words has this person written today, or things, or how much money has this person saved. This person says he or she is going to try to save more money. How, like, is this person doing that? And that I think is a pretty cool use case. But again, it could all be gamed. So we made the first
Right.
play to earn game in crypto. We made the first video game in crypto, and it can all be gamed
You mean on the blockchain?
because um, the block no, the blockchain
No,
records,
I mean
they're
your first
immutable.
game
They're not going to be changed. But you oh oh yeah,
in
we
crypto.
made the
Okay.
first
Yes.
video
Sorry.
game in
Yeah.
crypto. Yeah. Yeah, like the first real video game. I don't count CryptoKitties as a video game. I count that as a successful experiment. But CryptoKitties, for anybody who doesn't know, it was this project where it was like the first NFT project, really, where you would just buy and sell digital cats and breed them and try to get rare traits, and that was it. By having rare traits with the cats, there was nothing else other than you have a cat with rare traits, and and it was like the first project of its kind. And then one of my close friends and a mentor to me, he's like, we're both big nerds, and he's like, this idea is cool, but these things should be able to like battle each other, or like, what if you could level up and it was like a real video game, and then like the rarity of your creature could make it stronger as well, and so like the more rare creatures are also more valuable because they have more strength, and then you can level up and do this, and then there could be all these other items. And so we did that. It was the first play to earn game in crypto. It made $1 million in 2 days, and then we lost it all because we were inexperienced. But
Yeah.
and I can tell that story later on. But uh, oh man, I lost my train of thought because I was
You were talking
thinking
about the
very into what I was saying
blockchain
before that.
and, yeah. Yes.
Oh, and the immutability and yeah. So the thing is, like even with our project, you have the Oracle, and the Oracle sends the data to the blockchain. But people can manipulate the data that goes into the Oracle, and so these systems really, I think, until like you have just like this AI overlord, then you're gonna have very imperfect systems. And I am not in favor of an AI overlord. I like imperfect systems. I don't really want that. Though it's probably gonna happen. Are you
I
are you are you using are you using AI
Well,
tools? I'm curious. What
I'm
AI?
using
Yeah, what AI tools do you
ChatGPT, and I'm
use?
using, the Bing one. I mean, and, with yeah.
Yeah, wait, are you using Bing Beta?
It doesn't
How
always
do you like it?
work. It doesn't always tell the truth. But explain in the
No,
simplest of
no.
terms how the blockchain is keeps things authentic, keeps a real track.
Yeah, sure. So it's basically like an open spreadsheet where once data is
Right.
put into the spreadsheet, it can't be changed.
Mm.
That's in its most basic form. That's it. Once something is entered into the spreadsheet, you can't go back and say, "Oh no, 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 that value is incorrect. I'm going to change it." That's it in its perfect sense. But like I said, like a lot of these NFT projects, they didn't do that. They made their metadata open so it can be changed. And the only real record that was on the blockchain was that you own NFT number 5 of this collection. And whatever metadata is associated with it, well, the developers can change that whenever they want. So, but in its most basic sense, once the data is put into the data is on the
So it's
blockchain and it
constant at
doesn't
that point.
change.
And so you're saying the reason how some people go, so define an NFT in its simplest form, a non-fungible token. Yeah.
An NFT, yeah, an NFT, it's basically like it's. I mean, okay, so in its purest form, what it was supposed to be. Imagine, imagine just an item or an object, and it's in real life. Imagine you have a sword in real life, and
Yeah.
or a sword in a video game, I think, is a better example, and one that like doesn't degrade. And so like you get the sword and it's in your inventory, and you can trade it. Now it's in this other person's inventory, and that's all recorded on the blockchain. And the prices that it's sold for, that's recorded on the blockchain. There's this open record of it. And then the thing is, like, and then you have smart contracts, which are uh, it's computer programs also on the blockchain, so people can read the programs and tap into the programs. And so maybe a program said, okay, if a sword is damaged in this way, then
Mm.
it loses some of its efficacy, and it makes it worse. And so this metadata can only be affected by this contract, and so on and so forth. But in the simplest form, it's like it's just an object that is on the blockchain that can be traded. And non-fungible means it can't be divided into two objects. It's a single object.
So
Like a sword is a
when people see
single object.
examples of NFTs, my girlfriend would say to me, "Yeah, an NFT, that's that gorilla with the hat on with a tear in their eye or something. And why is it worth $1 million? I don't understand."
A lot of it is it's just insider. It's market making, um, and it's money laundering. A lot of it is money laundering. That's
Mm,
that's the truth. A lot of crypto is money laundering. And
right.
people who won't say that are liars. People who don't say that, those like, yeah, are
Well, we see
scammers. There's
most
so many
recently
scammers in the
FTX
space.
and that collapse, right? Billions of dollars. And, and
Right,
I
right,
try my best to try
right.
to explain it. But I mean, just as there's fraud with real cash, there's fraud with crypto crash. It doesn't make the actual technology wrong, just makes those who are using it in a bad actor manner, correct?
Well, what's wrong? Well, what's wrong about the technology is that people way overblow how transformative it will be. And I'll give you an example. So there was this project that got shut down. The contracts are still up, so if you're a developer, you can still interact with the projects, and tons of people do every day. Tons of developers do, but normal people, they can't really anymore. So and a lot of developers as well, they get scammed out of crypto. I know a front end dev. I've never
Right.
been scammed in crypto. Knock on wood. I've never been scammed. I've never been scammed in crypto. But like a lot of developer friends fall for crypto
Mm.
scams, and uh, and so anyway, there was this project called Tornado.cash, and it was a tumbler for money. So you would put your money in, and then you would get your money back, but you wouldn't know that it came from you. And I never actually used it, but a lot of people did use it. Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, used it to donate money to Ukraine, as an example. And it would make it so money couldn't be tracked. And so governments didn't like this, and it was completely decentralized, as in like no one single entity controlled this. However, the all of like the stack surrounding it, all of the pieces of software that was used to keep the community running, that was
Mm.
centralized. Discord, centralized. Amazon Web Services, where the website was on, centralized. Their Twitter account, centralized. And their
Mm.
emails, centralized. And within, their GitHub, the code on GitHub, centralized. Within a day, the government had all of those things shut down. The entire
Wow.
community was shut down, and the founder was arrested. And the website went offline. It was on Amazon. It was on Amazon web services, and their Discord went down. Their GitHub was taken offline, and the government went after it, and they won. And so the point is, like, until the entire stack surrounding a project is decentralized, you can't actually have a decentralized project. And a lot of the biggest proponents of crypto, they say it's this world changing tech because they imagine a future where things are decentralized, things are completely immutable, things really can't be altered with, things can't be changed, projects like can only be controlled by the people who have all the tokens and stuff, and aren't susceptible to what's going on in the rest of the world. And that's just not the case, because this it's the same concept of like an oracle puts data onto the blockchain, but the data
Mm.
that goes into that oracle is false. And the point of weakness for all of these crypto projects is a human element, and you can't really get rid of it's very hard to get rid of the human element. And so that's why I think the tech is largely overblown. I'm not saying it's bad, and I'm not saying it's worthless. It's certainly not. I think Bitcoin as a currency, as a store of value, is incredible. But the tech itself for sure is overblown. And so many people got wildly rich off crypto that there's just this insane FOMO, and you have a lot of people who are willing to make stupid decisions and give their money to scammers, which is why scammers keep
If you
returning
had
to
your
the
way,
space.
Edward, what would you do? Make Web 3.5 and make it more safe and equal and less susceptible to scamming. Ha! Come on.
I'm not smart enough for that. That's no, I'm really not. That's the truth. I mean,
Right.
I ran the biggest blockchain meetup in the world, and I've met the people who are smart enough for that, and they are leagues above me in terms of intelligence. And I don't really know. I think, like I said, I think the only real way. So, like, take an oracle is something that sends real world data to the blockchain. That's what an oracle is. So, take something like, just how do you make sure that the data that goes into an oracle is not falsified? The only way that I know of to do that is with like an artificial general intelligence. It doesn't have to be general, but it could be an artificial intelligence that tracks you. And that's the only real way to do that. And still, at the end of the day, you don't know that the AI wasn't tampered with, because things like that can always happen. But I think that's like a better bet. And like, the roots of all of these systems, like, or if the AI can't be tampered with, maybe it's owned by a separate company, but that company is a centralized company.
Hmm.
Company. So, um, it's a what I'm saying is, it's a very it's I don't know. Jack Dorsey came out. I think he called it like Web 3, like Web 5 or something. And I didn't look too closely at that. Um, I as far as I know, it wasn't. It was like mostly mysterious and not hugely transformative. That's what I think was the case. But I mean, here's I don't know. Here's how I improve the blockchain ecosystem. Um, people have to be. I think
Hmm.
people have to be really cynical in blockchain. I think that's
Really?
the only way. That's a terrible thing to say, because I don't really like cynicism, but I think when it comes to crypto projects, you have to be cynical, and you have to think, okay, this person's trying to like raise a lot of money, and get a lot of money based off of a fundraise, and so let me try to uncover how they're doing that. And then and so you ask a lot of questions, and you also, the other part, like, you can't be afraid to sound stupid in crypto. If you're afraid to sound stupid in crypto,
Hmm.
you will lose a ton of fucking money.
Please fucking
And
swear.
sorry for cursing. I don't know if that's allowed. All right, sweet. Yeah, you will lose a lot of money if you're
I
afraid to
mean,
sound
just
stupid in
like
crypto.
the financial, I was going to say industry, just the top 1% of the people, in the US, and let's just say the US, understand those laws and know how not to pay taxes and know what the loopholes are and pay to get those loopholes in. Isn't that really the same way crypto? I mean, it seems to me it's just people that are really knowledgeable about this stuff are getting away with it. Some scammers are kind of coming in and out, but perhaps it's just designed, purposely or not, just to be taken advantage by a certain few.
Well, I think crypto actually is a lot easier for the like layman scammer. And I don't think it's like the people like all the rich people. It's not that they know how to take advantage of the law. Some of them do, but it's like really
Or the
their
people they
accountants
hire,
and
sure.
their lawyers do. So so actually, there was I heard this story on this podcast that I listened to. And Tim Cook, he went in front of Congress, and he said, we don't use, what did he say? He's like, we don't offshore money, and we don't just obey the law, but we obey the
Hmm.
spirit of the law. And then in the Paradise Papers, or one of those like big leaks, it was revealed that actually, no, they were not paying billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars in taxes. By, I think they had like a tax haven in, it was, I think, Switzerland. And then there were like emails were leaked from Apple, and they're like, all right, the Switzerland tax haven, or the Switzerland thing isn't working out. Can you get us one in Ireland? And so then they switched to Ireland. And so it, but actually, Apple had to go and ask for their savvy lawyers to do that. And so that's why I
Hmm.
think it's actually easier to scam in crypto, because, I mean, like, if you just have, like I said, if you have $2 million or $7 million, you could probably do it yourself to make it look like your NFT collection popped off. And whereas with like the tax stuff, not like yeah, sure, you got to have a lot of money, but then you also have to have the right connections as well, and know the right people. And I think that's harder. So yeah, yeah, I think it's actually like a more exclusive club, that like tax haven, and I think you have to have more than just a few million really
Yeah,
to
again,
really
just
take advantage of
the
that.
that 1%. Just if they don't know it, they know it. They hire people that can. I'm not sure. I know. It seems to me, there's countries in Central America that use crypto as their actual governing currency. You can buy a Tesla with
Sure.
with Bitcoin, right? I was at one point. I'm not sure if it's still the case. Oh, you can't anymore. Oh,
You
that
could.
stopped.
I don't think you can
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah.
So,
I don't think you can. Yeah.
how are the Chat GPTs and these AIs going to be affecting 3.0, Web 3.0?
Well, the Tesla stuff, I
Mm,
know they removed it. I don't know if they put it back in. I'll say that. But how will AI affect? I mean, I think there are already NFT collections made by AI. I have a friend, and he made an AI agent on the blockchain. It's really funny. Like
mm,
they made the first AI agent on the blockchain, so an artificial intelligence on the blockchain, and they wanted to see if it could make money trading. And it actually came out profitable only because so many people donated Bitcoin, no, sorry, donated, I think it was Ether, to their smart contract, donated like
hmm.
Ether to the AI's wallet because people thought it was so cool. So they just sent it money for free. So it actually ended up making money because of that before they turned it off. And uh, I mean, I think like it's gonna be so someone that I met in crypto. You meet a lot of like what I love
Mm.
about crypto is you will meet some of the most interesting, smartest people in the world in the space. And one of my friends, he invented high frequency trading, and I think he invented that in the '90s. I met him at the end of 2017. Actually, he came to one of my events, one of my blockchain events at Microsoft. He came, and he's still building in the space, and he's building like a trading game in the space, a virtual reality trading game in the space, and so I mean, like, yeah, you could totally see like AI predicting prices and doing market making of its own in crypto for sure. I can see that if it's not happening already. It's just pattern recognition, and
Mm.
AI is the
You
best at
just
pattern
released a video a
recognition.
couple days ago where a big media outlet was caught using one of the AIs to write their essays.
Yeah, CNET, it's crazy. I mean, it's really crazy this story about CNET. So, CNET um, is one of the top technology publishers,
Of course.
and a lot of us have heard of CNET. And Google is pretty outspoken. They say like you probably shouldn't use AI generated content. In fact, one of their like top spokespeople, John Mueller, I was reading a bunch of his tweets, and he was just tearing AI content apart into like people who do it. He's like, there was one thing that he wrote. Like one guy asked him, he's like, yeah, I'm not a native English speaker, so I want my AI to write in English, and it's going to be about something that I don't know that much about. And John Mueller wrote something to the effect of like, "Yeah, I'm very good at baking cakes. So can I use AI to write blog posts about medicine?" And yeah, it's something like that. So CNET was using AI to put out a lot of articles, and I would assume that it had an editor who was like proofreading the AI. Um, I don't know how much that was actually being done. In fact, I think I read that they had to stop it at one point. And it's probably still going because they just took their editor, this woman,
Right.
and made her. It's a new title. VP of AI content at CNET, and then they fired, I think, 10% of their staff, maybe more. And I mean, their staff isn't needed anymore. They got the computers writing it. There's actually a big like financial advice website. I can't remember the name, um, and like Value Walk or something like that. And they're using I think copy.ai to write a lot of their content, and then it says they literally say on each article, this was written by AI
Hmm.
but proofread by a qualified human. And um, I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about that. I actually think so. One, like AI alone, that's not being proofread, it lies a lot, and I use the word lie intentionally because it lies. It makes stuff up. It just makes stuff up, and all the time. I've heard a stat that like 60% actually of the information
Really?
that ChatGPT gives you is wrong. 60%. That's what I heard, and I'm not too worried that it's gonna like heavily disrupt search engines right now because for two reasons, or at least at the very least, I don't know if it will disrupt search engine optimization. But first, like
Hmm.
I use ChatGPT as a backup to Google because I know a lot of what it tells me will be wrong. That's and that will create a waste of my time in doing research to verify what it says. It will create a waste of my time. In fact, you're like, so u.com, it uses a similar, it might even use GPT tech, I'm not sure. But they have a chat, and it's very similar to ChatGPT. And you ask it questions, and it'll make up answers, and then you will say, "Can you please cite your sources?" So then it'll give like the root domain. It'll just give like cnet.com, for example. And I'm like, okay, but what is the specific page? And then it will make it. It'll give you a page from a different website because it doesn't understand. And what I'm saying is like these things cause more trouble in terms of doing research than they actually save you with time. So for me, they're really like a backup, and I'm not so bullish on them right now in terms of like they're going to take over search. I use them for some
Me
things.
too.
I use them to summarize stuff.
Hmm.
I use them to write frameworks and outlines. It's great to plug in a YouTube transcript and have it summarize a transcript, or to give it an article and have it summarize the article. Like that's great. And if you're doing like top of funnel research, something where you're not looking to like purchase anything, and and there's already a lot of content on the internet written about it, it actually might give you truthful answers. It might, if there's a lot of content on this subject, and also might not. So I mean, I would say mostly what I use it for is to like make stuff up, like make up stories that I can use, and to make up outlines, and then to summarize stuff. And I think for doing research in the same way that you would do research on Google, I think it's very dangerous. And in a lot of instances, will just waste people's time, piss them off, and then have them not want to use it anymore. And so that's why I'm not. I like.
Yeah, you are.
I'm one of the best search engine optimizers in the world, and lately, yeah, lately I've been going really hard with search engine optimization for my own site, edwardsturm.com. I've been like building out crazy SEO funnels on it, both for affiliate products and for like SEO services. Because I think I, I I I used to rank for like SEO services New York, and then I got into crypto, and I just kind of let that funnel die. And I was listening to a podcast with a guy who has like this very successful agency, and I'm like, man, I could have done that, and I could have had that as well. And so now I want that, and I want to get like crazy inbound. And I listened to a lot of podcasts, especially business podcasts. There's this one story of this. I love this story. This developer, and God, I wish I could remember his name. And but yeah, God, I wish I could remember this guy's name. So I think his first name was Peter. They're all named Peter for some reason, and so he got up to charging. I think he was charging like $50,000 a week for development services, and he was a solo developer, and he would come in and fix something for a week or several weeks and charged 50,000 a week, and he almost got greenlit at 125,000, but he didn't do it. Maybe it was like 30,000, but either way, it's a lot. And what happened was he started and he was only charging like $2,000 a week. First, he was charging by the hour, and some mentor told him charge by the week, so he started charging by the week. He was charging $2,000 a week, and then another mentor was like double it, and he's like, what? He's like, double it. And so he doubled it, and the next client was like, okay. And he had like a pretty steady like inbound of leads and people who wanted to work with him. So every now and then he would try to double his price. And when he first doubled it from 4,000 to like 8,000, he was really, really, really nervous. And he was like sweating. And the client came back like, oh, that's healthy, but okay. And then he went to 16. The client was like, it's steep, but all right. And then he went to like 30, and it's like, okay, we'll do it. And he got it to $30,000 a week. And so I think I can have this like crazy funnel where I just have so much demand from inbound SEO that I can do those sorts of things. And that's kind of what I'm like trying to do right now. And then what I do is I would build a really big agency around it and get an incredible president to manage everything and angel invest. That's like I think like what I'm seeing. And then and simultaneously I have my own projects which are making money, and then I'm doing like I'm doing SEO for some affiliate projects every now and then. I just had one video get 1.6 million views on TikTok for a project that a company that I love and use all the time, but they also have like an amazing affiliate program. So it was like nice to promote a company that I believe in, but also make money from it, and that was cool. And oh yeah, but SEO to me, it's the most. I'll tell you, at search engine optimization to me is the most inspiring marketing channel because every other marketing channel
Mm.
benefits SEO, and it, the traffic going to your site, that is a ranking signal. That is a ranking signal to Google. If you have a site that gets a lot of traffic, that helps your site become more authoritative in Google's eyes. And if it's getting a lot of traffic, you might get backlinks from that, also, which really boosts up the authority of a website. And yeah, everything. So like if you put in the right funnel into your website, basically you can capture very qualified interest from Google. So like maybe you have this, let's say you have this bullshit. Here's an example. Let's say you have this bullshit viral video on TikTok, and your profile link in your TikTok goes to your website. And on your website, you have pages that target, let's say, I don't know, you're selling a very unique type of ergonomic chair. And it's like a green wooden ergonomic chair or something. And the market for that, yeah, well let's just say it's that. And so you make a page titled like green or titled like wooden ergonomic chair. And all of a sudden, the bullshit video from TikTok is having people go to your site and look around, and that's boosting your authority. And now you're ranking number one for like wooden ergonomic chair, and everyone who's in your niche are finding it through Google. And all you had to do was spend a few hours putting up a page, and now you're getting all these sales, and it's evergreen, and it lasts months after month after month. It just lasts. And as silly as this example with the wooden ergonomic chair is, the things that I've done in SaaS and software as a service, that's not silly because that's monthly recurring revenue, and you target specific use cases for a software business, and it's crazy how much money you can make. And and honestly, like how many people you can help too, because it's very frustrating
Mm.
to search Google and not get your answer, and not have, it's so frustrating. I was doing that today. I was trying to find an answer with something with Calendly, and I couldn't find it, and it's very frustrating. And then I asked, you know what? And then
Did it really?
I asked ChatGPT, and it made up an answer. And I said, it just completely made up an answer. I said, where did you get your source? It said Calendly.com. I said, what page on Calendly.com? And then it sent me literally a different website. and the answer wasn't there, just made it up. And but it's very frustrating if you're just a consumer and you can't find stuff. So the thing about SEO is it's not pushing it like a product down people's throats. If it's done right, it's helping the people who know what
Hmm.
they want just find you so you can give it to them. And it's my favorite marketing channel by
But
far.
going back to the
Yeah,
ChatGPT, why
yeah, yeah.
would the designers create a function like that when it's so easily tracked that it's erroneous? The answer is erroneous. It's just
Well, I mean, ChatGPT, it's just maybe you know how it works, and if anyone listening doesn't know how ChatGPT works, it's a pattern recognition. It's not actually like an answer tool. It's a pattern completion tool. So it hears something, and then it says what is most likely to be the answer, like what is most likely to come next in these words. So that's why if you ask it like a question, well, what happens next when a question
hmm.
is asked? An answer is given. And then it just tries to say what is most likely to be that answer. And that's why it's so good at writing poetry, or if you give it the first sentence of a story, why it's so good at writing the rest of the story, because it's just using patterns in its billions of parameters to autocomplete text. It's like an
Hmm.
autocomplete text tool. I mean, that's exactly what it is, an autocomplete text tool. That's what ChatGPT is. That's what DALI, its text to image tool is. OpenAI's text to image tool. Same with Midjourney. Same with all of these things. They're just
And
it's just
how
autocomplete.
will SEO understand that the content had been derived from a chat engine when it goes to rank? Because if it's just pattern recognition, it's just taking from other
Oh
sources.
yeah. Oh, I mean, these things write in very easily identifiable ways. Like, as a human, I can identify when something is written by ChatGPT. Like, in fact, a lot of people I know can. And and there are also tools. There are tools that can do this. You can just search AI detection tool. If you think so, like I got a blog submission for one of my blogs a few days ago, and I took the like it was like the guy sent an example of what he would like to write, and I took that and I put it into an AI detection tool, and it was like, yeah, this is seven
Wow.
percent human written content, and so
Hmm.
meaning 93% is AI written, but it was probably 100%. And yeah, there's this there are plenty of AI detection tools. It's very easy, and they're free. They're free. Just search AI
And
detection on
I'm
Google. It's
sorry.
free.
So,
And
as an SEO
yeah,
expert, you're not threatened at all by these chat.
I was at the beginning a bit, and not like super threatened, because I think
Yeah.
what I got going on TikTok is pretty great. I'm up to like 19,000 followers, and I'm growing pretty consistently. But I was threatened at first, and then like after using ChatGPT for long enough and just
Hmm.
seeing how bad its answers are, I personally got tired of it. Like, I didn't switch to ChatGPT over Google, even for answers where like
Right.
the answer existed before 2021. That's ChatGPT's index is up to 2021, and no, I continue to use Google because I trust the answers to be correct a lot more than I do ChatGPT. And maybe you'll say, "Oh, well, GPT-4 will come out and it's going to be so much better." And actually, I don't really know, because the purpose of the GPT technology is just autocomplete. It's just supposed to give you what is supposed to be the right thing. And if it doesn't know, it will still make up answers. And if it continues to make up answers,
Hmm.
then you're going to distrust it. Now, I think there is an easy enough fix for it, but it's not a real fix. And that fix is have a threshold percentage of how
Mm.
certain the AI is on its answer. And if
Ah.
there is a threshold, if the threshold is like above, let's say 95% accurate or 93% accurate, show the answer.
Hmm.
If it's under that, don't show it. And I think actually Google kind of already does this with the snippets that it shows. Uh, but that's, I think that's like what could be done to prevent distrust in the AI and just have people ignore it and not have people ignore it. Because I think what will happen when Google releases Bard, if it does, and I don't really know if it will actually, because I think they're probably, I would suspect that they're thinking what I'm thinking, which is these things lie a lot. People are going to grow to distrust them and not even want to use them. Are we
Mm.
just wasting our time releasing this? And let's see what Bing does, and then respond to that. Maybe like let's have it mostly ready, and then if Bing releases theirs, we'll do it. I think because they were supposed to release it weeks ago. So no, I'm not too threatened. I also believe, and I made a video about this. I also believe that in the same way that, so there's this tool called Google Search Console. It's one of the most valuable tools in any search engine optimizer's arsenal, and it literally lets you submit pages on your website to Google's index. So whenever you come out, I've ranked pages within 5 minutes of
Wow.
publishing them and beat the New York Times by using this. Literally, I came out above the New York Times within 5 minutes of putting out an article by using this tool. And all it does, well, not all it does a bunch of things, but the most valuable things that it does is it lets you submit URLs, and it will crawl those URLs, and then it'll crawl the links in the URL. So if a page on your site or your website as a whole isn't showing in Google, you can just literally put it into this tool, and Google will now have it in their index. And you can also submit these things called sitemaps, which just shows every URL on your website. So Google on its own time can crawl, because crawling is expensive. So Google on its own time can crawl your site, and then crawl it every now and again, crawl these pages, and then have an accurate
Hmm.
place for where all of your URLs are. So I think there will be a similar tool like
Ah.
that for artificial intelligence, for these conversational AI. So like the AI will need to add more data to its index. It will need to have more data to learn from. And especially if you're like giving it products. So if someone is like, what is the best voice recorder? Then you make a page on your site called like best voice recorder. And then I just think it'll work in a lot of the same ways that the SEO works in terms of like authority. It'll rank data in its index over others based on authority and relevance. And you'll submit. I mean, Bing is already kind of trialing something similar with its Bing,
Yeah.
like it has like a Bing Search Console. And so yeah, I think it's going to be like that. You're going to submit the pages on your site to the AI. But actually, like you'll probably just continue to submit them to Google Search Console
Mm.
and Bing Search Console, and then they'll also give it to the
It's
AI.
pretty good.
So
Yeah, ultimately you're
I'm
not.
not that
It's a pretty
threatened.
good idea though to have a kind of a accuracy rating when it when it does give the answer. We're about 50% sure this is correct. I mean, it may seem. I think it'll just put things in perspective. Edward, you've got. I have to ask where you got your kind of tech direction from. You're born in Brooklyn. You ran a nightclub for a while. You went to school in Boston. You got held up there. You escaped out of. You lived in Kiev for a while, and you were like the last flight out before the war. And you're in Rome for a while. You're like digitally nomad. And you had
Yeah.
these videos, these viral videos you had on Times Square. I mean, it's just you have such such great stories. I just wondered, like, where did the first, you
Yeah.
know, inkling to go into technology come from?
Oh, so it was in 2015, and I didn't run a
Your
nightclub. I
promoter,
mean, in a sense,
right?
I did. I was a promoter for New York City nightclubs. Yeah, and a lot of my friends, you don't make that much. What's cool about being a promoter, it's not the money you make because it's negligible, but it's the people that you meet. So I was at the club every night with people like Leonardo DiCaprio or Busta Rhymes, and I was at the most exclusive clubs in the entire world. And and I'm the guy who's having like the most fun because that's why people go to the club with me, because I'm having so much fun. And I wasn't drinking either,
Mm,
which allowed me to do it night after night after night without getting tired. And uh, but I recognized that this wasn't a good like long term move. And a lot of my friends from New York City nightlife started getting into tech.
mm,
And you are the five people that you surround yourself with. And my five best friends, they all started getting into tech and business and leaving the nightclubs. And so I said, okay, I didn't know how I was going to begin, but I tried. I had made these viral videos while I was at the club, and I didn't think to monetize them at the time, which was really dumb of me. Like if I was going to redo that period of my life, I would have started daily vlogging. We tried daily vlogging in college. I did it with a friend. My friend was the videographer, he was a producer. He wasn't I was a producer, but he was the videographer and editor, and he just wasn't putting in the necessary work. I knew how to shoot and edit, and I should have just done it myself. I didn't realize how big daily vlogging would be, and I didn't realize how big YouTube would be, to be honest. We were just making funny videos because it made us laugh, and they went super viral and going on TV shows. And I'm like, this is really cool, but I wasn't thinking about making it a career. And so we made a video information product about how to go viral on the internet, and I was still able to sell like a few thousand copies of it, but it wasn't ranking on Google. And then when all of my friends started getting into technology, I, I'm I like was very curious why that wasn't ranking on Google, and I said, I'm going to learn why this isn't ranking on Google and then become good at this thing. I'm going to become good at search engine optimization. And when I started reading about SEO, I became very fascinated by SEO. And then like my understanding was that, oh, everything affects SEO. And I felt like I
mm,
was seeing the matrix actually when I understood SEO, because if you understand the way that Google works, you understand the way that the internet works, and you also understand the way that a lot of other algorithms work. And all social media platforms are just our algorithms. And but really Google especially, like Google is the internet as far as I'm concerned. And if you understand how Google works, you understand how the internet works. And so I thought I was seeing the matrix. I'm like, I know why Google is showing me this instead of this, and I know why it's showing me this instead of this. And I know that this result is likely to give like worse answers than this result, but it's showing because of these reasons. And to me that was cool. I had like this secret knowledge. And then when I like actually was able to rank stuff, it and get
hmm,
results from it, it became very very exciting. And so I SEO is, if you're actually good at SEO, it requires being technical. A lot of consultants, a lot of SEO consultants, they're not very good SEOs, and they're not worth paying, but they're good salespeople, and they don't care about the technical aspect of SEO. They don't really care about SEO at all. And they're good salespeople. They wouldn't even be able to rank their own stuff. But so in order to be good at SEO, like I said, you have to be technical. And since I became technical through that, when my friends approached me, when like my mentors approached me and asked me to get into blockchain with them, I was able
mm,
to understand it because of my experience with SEO. And then when I got into blockchain, we didn't we never intended to make like the first play to earn game. It was an idea that came to us, that came to my friend on a whim, and it we didn't know it would be very successful, but it was immediately successful. And so then we made this like really crazy blockchain app, and I learned more about tech, and then we made more tech products, and I learned more about tech, and that's how I went into the tech rabbit hole from from being a viral video creator, like
Hmm.
nightlife promoter. Yeah, it was. I guess it was like a slippery slope,
And
but
here we
I
are.
fell
So
down.
on the podcast, Edward, I always I talk about my journey. I started my tech company in the '90s. We were just network support and application development, which was a lot back then. There was no World Wide Web back then, and eventually, you know what happened, right? We all came into it, but I wasn't paying attention to myself. I ended up. I know you mentioned before that you have a high metabolism. You can't put on weight, where it's just the opposite with me. I got up to 340
No.
pounds. The doctor said, you're not going to see your
Whoa.
daughter graduate. And so, it's all I needed to hear. So, I made a lifestyle change. I lost about 100 pounds in 7 months and then continued to lose 130 pounds. And
Wow.
so, whenever I tell people the story, I could just see it in their face. How'd you do it? Like there's some secret. Weight loss is billions of dollar industry. And the only word I give them is discipline. I got focused, I got disciplined, and I did it. I wonder how discipline plays a role in your life, Edward.
I'm one of the most disciplined people that I know. I wake up at 6 a.m. I do even off low sleep. I'll get up. I do Wim Hof breathing. I won't get up if I feel like getting up will make me
Right.
sick, because there are cases where if you don't sleep enough, you might get sick. But most of the time, if I just don't feel like getting up, I'll still get up. I do, depending on the day of the week, a 10 or a 20-minute Wim Hof breathing exercise. Um, and I've, you know what? Okay, I have this crazy morning
Horseradish.
routine. I eat raw garlic in the mornings.
Mhm.
I meditate for, yes, amazing horseradish. Yeah, they have incredible horseradish here too. Um, and I exercise and all this
Wow.
stuff. In fact, I was obsessed with bodybuilding in college. But um, the discipline. Here's where I think the discipline came from. The discipline came from, one, I'm just an obsessed person. When you're obsessed, it's easy to be disciplined because you really like what you do. I'm not super disciplined with SEO because it's just discipline. It's like I have fun doing it. I have fun sitting at my computer and working. Now I am disciplined with the habits. And the reason for that is because I've been punished when I've let those habits go. When I was living in Romania for 2 months, I got there from New York, and I didn't exercise and I didn't stretch. Like normally I stretch and I exercise I exercise Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I stretch every single day of the week. And when I was in Romania, I didn't stretch or exercise for 2 months, and I hurt my back. And I'm like, oh man, I really got to take my health seriously. And so like now, like I'm disciplined. I know what will happen if I let it go, because I've slipped a bunch of times. Why why was I disciplined before slipping? Because like I think if you're going to start a habit in the first place, a positive habit, you have to be disciplined. And the reason for that was I learned through bodybuilding that if you try to do something and you try for long enough, you will get results. And I went to the gym 6 days a week, and I ate like all the calories in order to try to put on weight. And I got an 8 pack, and I was ripped, and I looked incredible, and I was able to do it. And then in New York City nightlife, part of the reason a lot of these kids become promoters is because they want to be the high like social scene, and they also want to get better at socializing. And I was this nerd kid in high school, and I wanted to like be with all the cool people and be cool, at, like not just be with the cool people, but be cool and know how to talk and know how to tell stories and be and feel confident. And so by pushing my comfort zone with people every night while promoting at these
Hmm.
clubs, I guess I became cool and I became comfortable with other people. And when you see what you're able to do if you just put in effort every day, that is that's motivation enough to keep going and to stay disciplined. And that's where I think my discipline comes from, is I have a strong belief in the results that I will
Hmm.
get from doing the things that I do. And maybe it's a self-fulfilling, I mean, I think it's certainly a self-fulfilling prophecy. And and that's why I stay disciplined, because my least disciplined moments are when I'm pessimistic. When you become pessimistic, like, it's never easier to get out of bed than when your life is looking up. And conversely, it's never harder to get out of bed when things are really, when you feel like you're staring down a dark pit.
You mentioned, if you were to
Yeah.
do things differently with some of your videos and how when you made that game, you lost some of that money within 2 days, and some of those things that you like to kind of take back. Was this a lack of discipline, or a lack of experience? What do you kind of count that up to?
Um, a lack of experience. Certainly a lack of experience. No, disciplined. Oh man, I'm like, oh God, yeah. Like,
Really?
my friends think I'm too hardworking. Yeah, they think I'm too hardworking. Um, that was a complete lack of experience. I mean, like YouTube, we had hundreds of millions of views. I went on 2020, Good Morning America, like the biggest shows in the world, and I had viral video after viral video, and like, I should have just. I was very dissatisfied with my main, like, producer who I was working with. I was very dissatisfied with his output, and for years I was dissatisfied. And instead of doing it myself, instead of just being like, I'm just going to make my own videos, I kept on like trying to push them. I think my biggest error as um like a business person is for the longest time I tried to
Mm.
push people into doing things that they didn't want to do, because I so strongly believed in the results of them doing it. And um my mindset has changed over the last several months,
Hmm.
and I'm like more optimistic than ever now. And I'm just going, like, we have, so Reverb, actually, we just, oh man, Reverb was a crazy project. um Reverb, we made, I was living in, so yeah, I lived in Kiev for 2 years, in Ukraine for 2 years, and this was during lockdowns, and I was in Kiev during lockdowns. And we had started this project called Reverb several months earlier, and I did some of the best SEO for it in my life. Where it was getting, at one point, it was getting, I think, like
Wow.
32,000 visitors a month just from SEO. And now it gets like 17,000 visits a month because it's years later. And some things happened, and the project stayed up for years, but we didn't really work on it. And then, and we lost the capacity. We moved on to different things, so we couldn't really develop it fully like we wanted to. And when I was living in Rome, Reverb went down. My co-founder forgot to pay the hosting bill for the app, and so the app went down. And all of these people who used it every day, they DM'd me on Twitter and they emailed me personally, and they're like, "Is Reverb done? What's going on with Reverb? It's not working." And it hasn't been working for days. And we realized, oh man, we
Hmm.
probably should, like, try to make this work. And so um I have a friend who I met while living in Budapest in Hungary. I had a 2-hour call with him today, and he had been wanting to. He just really believes in me as an entrepreneur and as a marketer, and he'd been wanting to build something of mine for a long time. And I'm like, you know what? I think Reverb would be the perfect thing to build. And so his team, where we worked out a deal so that they'll be part of it, and his team made paid tiers for our app. and we put in paid tiers for Reverb a month ago. And now we have, I think we just hit
Hmm.
93 customers right before this call. I got a confirmation email. So we're at 93 customers with monthly recurring revenue. And we're only making like $400 a month. But it's increasing every day. We're getting like 2 to 3 customers a day. And in terms of most of our users are in education. And we've gotten a total of like, we haven't signed up a single group yet. And I believe that's because our feature set for education is not complete, because like we've had seven, I would say like around a dozen of people representing a total of like 750 users in over some schools ask us in the last month about our group functionality and our group features so they could have group plans. And we didn't convert any of these groups into customers because the product isn't there. So that's cool, because I think by the end of this year that project will be making like real money, and we'll have really big customers. And just it's exciting to get a customer every day, even though right now the MRR is rather low. I actually tweet our MRR
Hmm.
numbers and our total revenue. I tweet it live and how many customers we have. Whenever I set up a Zapier workflow, from Zapier to Google Sheets and Google Sheets to Twitter. So it tweets it. I limit it to
Me
once a
too.
day.
Me too.
Love Zapier. Addicted to Zapier. And so I make it so whenever we get a new subscriber, uh, the Google Sheet increases by 1 row. If someone cancels their subscription, it loses a row. And then I do a lot of different things based on that row and how much the person is paying. And I have all these formulas in Google Sheets, and I turn these formulas, I concatenate everything into a tweet that
Hmm.
goes out whenever someone converts, and then that shares our MRR and our total revenue and our amount of customers. And so that's exciting that that's happening. But you asked about discipline. My problem with with being a co-founder with many projects is
Right.
no one can keep up with me in terms of my output. And um, and so it's exciting for what I'm doing with my personal website, edwardsturm.com, because
Hmm.
the only person who has to keep up with me is me. And I'm like unleashed. I'm a wild beast unleashed, and it feels tremendous, to be honest. And I wake up excited to work on the things that I'm working on with my site. Um, yeah, it's just crazy how like I had this old site that I made that when I first learned WordPress in 2015. Oh god, that was crazy too, man. What a story this was. Some guy he found, I think, the Viral Bible, like our video information product. And he's just like, listen, you're cool, the things you've done are cool. You said you said you want to have a website. I'm going to make you a site and teach you how to use WordPress for free. And this guy, he was like an expert. He had this big comic company, and he had like, I think, like maybe 2 dozen employees or something. And he just let me come and hang at his place, and he made me a WordPress website for myself for free. And then I like learned WordPress. But when you make your first WordPress site, you do everything wrong. You put in way too many
Yeah.
plugins. You put in custom PHP. You
Right.
shouldn't be messing around with any of that. You don't need to mess around with any of that. And as a result, you have this Frankenstein website that that's really hard to update because plugins break, developers stop working on them, they're no longer compatible, and everything's going wrong. And that's what I had with my site, with edwardsturm.com. And so I made the decision when I was living in Barcelona. I said, okay, I'm about to go to Warsaw. It's going to be cold. I'm not going to be doing a lot of socializing, and I'm just going to like lock myself up in my apartment, and I'm going to take all the existing content from that, just copy literally the text and the pictures, make a brand new site now, because I think I'm one of the best WordPress devs. Like it just like I wouldn't call
Mm.
myself a real dev, but like I know how to make a hell of a WordPress site. And
I
I'm
like
very
Elementor
good
as
at
well.
Elementor, like the best page builder for WordPress.
Yeah.
I love that company. And uh, and so I made this beautiful site. I took all the content, I put it on that site, and now the things that I'm doing with the site I think are pretty insane. So I bought Calendly yesterday so that I can have my Calendly. This is insane, but I just love this. And so I have these Calendly calendar embeds on my website, and the brand of the calendar, it just everything matches. The colors, like the background color, the color of the buttons, the everything matches my brand, and it's embedded right there. There's no like powered by Calendly type thing, and it's sweet, and all the functionality that I'm able to get. And yeah, I just so it's cool for that, like no one's holding me back, and I can just work so hard. I think with Reverb, when Reverb gets to a certain amount of MRR, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get like a few marketers, and I have this like vision for a crazy marketing funnel that we'll do for Reverb. And then once that happens, I think we'll hockey stick in growth and just go like right now we're kind of like at this linear amount, and then we'll put in, I think then we'll put in like better functionality for large organizations. So then we'll go up like that, and then we'll use that money and put it into proper marketing, and then it'll just go like that.
Yeah, you
That's what
mentioned
I think will
MRR.
happen with
Anybody
Reverb.
listening, that's monthly recurring revenue. You mentioned WordPress, which is a website technology. Zapier, which is a great product. It's kind of middleware that connects technologies and platforms to each other, just for anybody who's listening. But all very, it's wonderful.
Zapier is crazy. I made a video about this. So in 2017, I was in crypto, and people were calling Ethereum the world computer. I don't know
No, I
if
never heard
you're
it.
in the space or you read that, like, but Ethereum was being called, yeah, it was being called the world computer because all the programs on it, like, they're decentralized across nodes, across like uh, different countries and all this different areas. So it's called the world computer. But I actually
Hmm,
think the real world computer is Zapier, because because all of these different web applications or just applications, they all exist, they don't exist
interesting.
within it, but Zapier connects all of them. And
Yeah.
and so to me, Zapier is like the world computer, because Zapier connects any application. We like Commit Club. We made a webhook for Commit Club so that I can have everything go to Google Sheets, so I can have everything go to Twitter. And now whenever somebody creates a new challenge on Commit Club, the Commit Club Twitter tweets it out. Whenever someone gets halfway through their challenge, Commit Club Twitter tweets it out. When someone finishes their challenge, Commit Club Twitter tweets it out. And now we're putting AI into Commit Club too. And actually, I think we'll have this out in the next couple of days. So we're going to tweet out people's challenges, their daily challenges, and then we're going to have an AI say
Hmm.
why this challenge is beneficial and why people should do this challenge. And then the OG image, which is the open graph image that for anybody listening, that's like the preview, that's the image preview that you see in social media and Twitter and Facebook and messengers. The OG image is going to be generated by an AI based on the title of the challenge. So if your challenge is called like squat every day, the AI will generate an image of somebody doing squats, and that'll be the image that shows when
Hmm.
our Twitter posts it out automatically. Yeah, and that's powered. I mean, we're able to do that because of Zapier. I mean, well, the AI image, that will be because that we're just going to set the OG image as that, but the AI
Yeah,
description of
it's a
why this is
wonderful.
beneficial, that'll be
Yeah,
Zapier.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Uh,
Zapier is incredible,
yeah,
incredible.
middleware. I guess I don't know what category it fits, but yeah, I use it so often in all of our platforms. Edward Sturm, what motivates you?
That's a great question. I when I was a kid,
Hmm,
I loved building with Legos. I think that's something that's common among
I was, yeah.
a lot of tech entrepreneurs. And yeah, I love playing with Legos. I liked getting something, and then here's what motivated me with Legos, and it was seeing what it
Hmm,
would look like and feel like when it was complete. And so I would build as fast as I could. to see and look to see and feel it being complete. And I think I have a vision of what a lot of these projects I'm doing can turn into, and I want them to turn into that because it's fun to see things come to fruition. At the same time, I get joy from having people. The reason that I'm very good at marketing is, or one of them is, like, I'm very creative, but I get joy
Hmm.
from having people see my work. I get joy from people talking about my work, not knowing that I did that, and then being like, oh yeah, I did that. And that's a great feeling, is to be like this guy pulling the strings behind the scenes, and you're setting culture, and you're driving people's attention towards certain things. And now I'm not really behind the scenes like I used to be, because I'm so public on TikTok. But uh but yeah, drive like attention and
Hmm.
eyeballs,
And how do you
that
measure
motivates me a lot.
success?
um that one's hard because I tend to work on things that, like, usually are not immediately successful, because I think, like, a lot of the best things are like not I think a lot of the best things, you have to stick with them for a long time. Um, so how do I, like, in fact, when a project feels like Reverb, for a while, like, it
Mm.
felt like it was dead, and now it's very much alive. Now it has customers. So um, I I I don't know. I don't really know how to measure, like, financial success. Seems like a bit too easy. Um, there are plenty of people who are, if I know I know one of the founders of one of the biggest cryptocurrencies. I can't say which one. He's a close friend, and I won't really get into that. But there's plenty
Yes.
of wealthy people who aren't happy, and yeah, and so um, for me, I know what I want in life, and I want to have a big family. I want to be healthy, and I guess I kind of, like, I have a chip on my shoulder a little bit. So yeah, I want to have a lot of money. So also, so I can, like, look after my friends and family as well. I don't want someone to get sick and not be able to, like, afford to pay for what they need to pay for. Healthcare in the United States is very expensive. And now I mostly live in, I spend a
Yeah.
lot of time living in Europe, and I see how cheap it is out here. It's a crazy difference. So um, I guess I don't think about that too often. Um, like, how to measure success, because there's too many different measures for success. For me, it's like, do I think this can, if it's a project, I say, okay, do I think this can make money? How long will that take? And what steps do I need to do to get there? And then I do it, and I play some, like, crazy techno music or some relaxing Animal Crossing music, and I just bang out the work, and it's fun for me. And um, yeah, that's I don't even think about measuring success. Like, for me, okay, measuring success, I guess traffic. I like seeing traffic. I like getting a lot of traffic. Qualified traffic is especially good. If we're talking about a specific project, conversions into whatever you're selling are great. But that's a simplistic answer. Like, yeah, sure. How do you measure success for a company, for a basic company? The money that's generated. That's a very simplistic answer. How do you measure success overall in your life? I think, to me, it's what
Oh
I just
man, I
described.
tell you, it
How do you measure
varies. It
success,
varies. I mean,
Joe?
there's no right answer. It could be simple. It could be complicated. It could be, there's no right answer. But you have to check with yourself and be authentic to yourself. Make sure you're happy. Make sure your loved ones are happy. I think is the first measurement. Why you got a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah. Um, because I always wanted to impress my old man. I always wanted to impress my old man. My dad's he's a pretty successful guy, and I don't want to let him down. And he's a very hardworking guy as well, very honest, high integrity person. I don't want to let my parents down. I don't want to let my family, like, so many people
Mm.
believe in me, I don't want to let anybody down. That's part of it. The other part is I was a huge loser when I was in
You
middle
wore
school and
suits
high
all the
school.
time. What do you mean you were a
And
loser?
like
Huh.
I wore suits all the time in college, but that's like the type of thing. See, the thing
Uh,
is, I went to film school, and everyone's weird in film school, but so like I kind of fit in film school, but it was like theater and film school, probably one of the top theater and film schools in the country. The school, Emerson College, and like theater kids
yeah.
are weird, and film people are weird, and TV people are weird. And that's who went to my school. But before that, I was at some nice school in New York City, and people were cool, but I was not because I really liked computers, and so I didn't have any girlfriends, and I didn't know how to relate to people, and actually, like I wasn't really close with anyone who went to that school. My best friends were my neighbors, and they were only my best friends because they were my neighbors. And at the time, I don't even think they liked me that much. They liked me because I had all the video games. Now we're like really, really close friends because now I'm cool. But but yeah, I think when you're a loser in high school, like it gives you a chip on your shoulder. And
Mm.
when you want to impress your parents, it gives you a chip on my shoulder. And so yeah, I want to like make my parents proud. I want to make all the people who believe in me proud, and
Mm.
fuck all those people who
Yeah, it
doubted me
gives
in
you
high school.
fuel and incentive. But yeah,
Yeah,
I guess those that have put you down, yeah, you want to get back. And what?
or just
Yeah.
people in general who didn't like when I was learning SEO. I
Mm.
was like a very fake it till you make it type of thing. And there was this oh man, there was this one experience. I think it was in 2016, and I met this guy at a meetup, and I'm like, yeah, I do SEO. I would tell people that, and
Right.
I had never really made anything rank on Google before. And so he's like, okay, cool, that sounds great. Come to my office and talk to me about it. And it was this kid who was younger than me, and he had an office at a WeWork, and I went to his office in Midtown, and he had in this guy who actually was good at SEO, and the guy starts like he had the guy in the room, and I immediately felt intimidated. And I came, in my like button-up shirt, with my briefcase, and so stupid. And yeah, and I'm like, and so he starts asking me like real technical SEO questions, and I'm trying to fake it till I make it because like now I don't really lie. Now I don't really lie. I think lying creates a lot of problems in your life. You have to keep up the lies, you have to remember the lies, and people get caught up in their own lies all the time, and then they mess them up, and then people lose trust in you. So I don't lie anymore. But that was not me in 2016, and I lied. And I was trying to lie, and I couldn't do it. And man, I
Mm.
like left that interview like almost in tears. I was so embarrassed. And so yeah, like all the people who doubted me, fuck all those people. I want to show them. um, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Chip on my shoulder, and I don't mind. I
You
would say
seem
I'm
it.
one of the happier people that
Mm.
I know. I'm pretty consistently happy. I attribute that happiness though
Mm.
in a large part to the habits that I do every day, because I'm very religious with my habits, and I think if I didn't meditate for 30 to 40
Cold
minutes every day,
showers.
for example, or stretch every day. um, Yeah, though I haven't
Yeah.
done those in a while.
Mm.
It's just so hard to do that in the Polish winter. It's just I was really good. The last time I was really religious about it was before the war, and I was living in Kiev. I had a 6-month lease in Kiev in January, and I was taking cold baths for 3 minutes every morning,
Yeah.
and insane because it's basically ice water that comes out of the tap in the Ukrainian winter. And I had this like great apartment, and it was such a good time. And then I had to leave suddenly because the fears of the war were going crazy. I left 10 days before the war started. The airport that I flew out of was hit by a missile 10 days later. And then I started, last year was supposed to be like the year of stability. I had this lease in Kiev, and it was just going to be super stable, especially that beginning part of the year. And instead I ended up living in Munich, in Tallinn, in Sofia, Bulgaria, in
Hmm.
Bucharest, Romania, and then back in New York City. And when you're going to so many different places, it's very hard to retain your habits. And I lost the cold shower, the cold bath habit. So yeah, I haven't done it in a while. I want to do it again. It's so good for you. But I think you also need to have, like, my bathroom here is very nice, but it's not the same that it was in Kiev, and you have to have the right bathroom to do it
Ah,
because you kind of get water all over the floor, and if you don't have like the right setup, and it would just this bathroom, like, water would get under the sink, and I just don't want to deal with that. But yeah, the other stuff like the meditation, the Wim Hof breathing, all that stuff keeps me happy for sure.
man, I
What
don't know.
makes you
I'm one
happy?
of the
Are you
luckiest
happy?
persons you'll ever talk to. My two daughters are healthy. I'm healthy. My parents are relatively healthy. And
Amazing,
what
amazing,
else could I
amazing,
possibly ask for, Edward? It's such a great pleasure to, I was going to talk to you. I was going to ask you, like, why don't you have a podcast? You love to talk, but I mean, you give us, minutes upon minutes every day in TikTok and in your other videos. So I guess you kind of do, right? I mean,
yeah,
they're just miniature kind of podcasts every day. You're
yeah, I
giving
kind
us
of
so
do.
much content. And but I really appreciate your time today. I love your perspective. I look forward to one day having a cup of well, you make your own coffee, you told me, or you said in a video, right? You make your own brew.
Oh yeah, I make, well, yeah, I make a lot of weird coffees. Today, oh man, this one was too weird. Like, I always forget you should never add, what is it? It's, yeah, oil and butter together, and because it kind of will taste like mayonnaise. So, or like,
Okay.
or not oil and butter, oil and vinegar. So I put, yeah, so I put vinegar into my coffee. I put apple cider vinegar into my coffee, which is actually great if you just do like, I make Turkish coffee a lot of the time. It's very easy. You have the Turkish coffee cup, you put in the grounds, you can add anything else that you want. But today I made like a monstrosity, and I drank all of it, but it was kind of nasty. So I put in all these coffee grounds, and then I put in like raw honey, and I get this incredible honey from the babushkas, from the Polish grandmothers here. And I put in raw honey. I put
Man.
in coconut oil. I put in apple cider
Hmm.
vinegar, and I put in turmeric. And the turmeric in coffee is great. Coconut oil in coffee is great. Honey in coffee is great. What else? Oh, apple cider vinegar in coffee. That's also great. Altogether, not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I make my own coffee.
Well, here's the
Not
thing. I'm
well all the time.
53
Sometimes well,
now or
but yeah,
54. I don't remember, but I've never had a cup of coffee my whole life. Yeah, I figured why start at this point,
that's amazing.
But so I always say it kind of figuratively, let's get together and have a cup of coffee. But
Wait, so I'm very curious about that.
oh,
So
I've never had a
do you
decaf.
drink
No,
decaf or no? Do
no.
you
I
do
occasionally
you
I'll
drink
have
tea?
tea. When I was losing the weight, I drank a lot of green tea, cold. That's
So
correct.
you've literally never had a cup of coffee. So does a green tea really, like, when you have green tea, are you
Don't
like, oh,
notice.
I have so much energy.
But I
Wow, this
used to
is
drink a
crazy.
lot of soda. I don't
No, wow.
anymore. Yeah,
Okay.
I used to drink cans and
Coca-Cola has
cans of soda
caffeine.
when I was
Coca-Cola
340
has,
pounds, but I cut all that out. So I had been
sure.
exposed to it, but
Okay.
I intermittent fast. So I stop eating about 5, and then I don't eat anything till about
Oh, amazing.
noon the next day, and that no coffee, just water in the morning. So I don't, yeah, but that's me. I don't know. It just works for me.
No, dude, that's so healthy. Intermittent fasting is like, I was telling someone I
Mm,
probably should fast. Like, I'm very
right.
skinny, so I'm a bit afraid about what will happen. But fast, like, long
Yes.
lifespans are associated with eating less, not eating more. And eating
Yeah,
more is
absolutely.
typically associated with shorter lifespans. And so, yeah, so I'm very aware of that. And um, I'm like, I
Right.
want to fast. I'm kind of afraid of what will happen if I
Hmm.
fast. Like, will I lose too much weight? I don't know. I
It
think the
will, and it
body will
starts to
regulate
freak
itself
out,
though, so
it
I'm not
starts to
sure.
panic, and we're not gonna get food again, and man, sometimes, Edward, I love it. I'm sitting there thinking, "Body, you're telling me this, but I can go longer. I don't need to eat." And I'll be playing golf or tennis or something where I need energy, and
Wow.
I'll just summon it. I'll get it, and it'll make me more focused, and I've gone as far as about 28, 30 hours
So
without eating.
okay, that's amazing. So when your body like panics like that, what do you do? Do you just push through it, or do you like stop and like sit and collect yourself so that you can like move
I
through
get
it,
more
or do you
focused. I
just
usually
like
drink
keep on
some
doing
water
whatever
because
you're
my
doing?
stomach will actually start to gurgle a little bit. It'll
Mm,
actually give me physical signs or
yeah.
audible signs. So I'll just drink some water and it'll take care of it for a moment, and then I just get focused and more targeted. I love it.
A lot of people, when they're
Yeah, that's
hungry,
true
it
too. You
turns
gotta
out
drink
they're
water.
actually just
Gotta
dehydrated.
drink a lot of water. Yeah. Yeah. For
Yeah.
me, the three pillars are, health. You mentioned it before, is proper diet, uh, exercise, and sleep. You mentioned sleep before. Those are the three. Andrew Huberman will
Yeah.
add, morning sunlight, be around positive people, and supplements, which I agree with as well. But my three main pillars are just your diet, exercise, and sleep.
I agree with all of this stuff except like supplements. I've always like I don't know if the body really metabolizes. I mean, I guess a lot of very healthy people take supplements. So, but there are certain supplements. I don't know. I think people probably take supplements the wrong way too.
And
They take
expensive, and they
supplements that are
pee it
too
out.
dense,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So, so I have doubts about like certain
How old are you,
supplements
Edward?
for sure. But
Mid 30s.
I'm in my mid 30s,
And you've never had any health
early
episodes,
30s. Yeah, early 30s.
something traumatic in your
Define
health.
episode.
Good for you.
No, nope. Yeah, I'm very lucky. I was just talking to my dad yesterday, and God, crazy lucky, and realizing how lucky I am, because I mean, like,
Yeah.
there's so many things that can go wrong. There are so many
Yeah.
reasons why a person shouldn't make it
Yeah.
to this age or your age, and have all of their limbs and all of their health.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I
Me
told you
too.
my stories. I did some stupid shit. I did some stupid fucking shit. I would used to like I would watch those bike
Yeah.
messenger videos on YouTube. The bike
With a
messengers
chain around their
barreling
chest.
down
Yeah, I'm in New
Broadway in New
Haven.
York
I'm in New
City.
Haven. I spent a lot
Where
of
where
time
do
in Manhattan and
yeah.
Bronx and yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I was in my like early 20s or like late teens, and I'm like,
Wow.
that looks fun. And I used to do that shit. And I used to do that shit.
Yeah.
And man, I got in
Yeah.
so many close calls where I was almost hit by a car. My friend who I did it with, he literally ran into a parked car. His bike hit a parked car, and he was okay. But like,
It sure is.
I mean, biking in New York City alone is so dangerous.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did stupid shit
Yeah.
here in Europe on like electric scooters and stuff. And uh, and so, man, it's crazy how lucky I am. And now that I fully realize, I'll tell you this: I always took crazy risks, and I think the way that I mean, I think that's normal. But now that I realize, like, just how
Mm.
lucky I am to have made it to 33, I just said, "Fuck." I wanted to keep my age private, but how lucky I am to have made it to that age. Um,
Yeah.
I'm a lot more risk averse than I was before, and because I'm like, man, I'm so lucky to have made it here, and I feel like I shouldn't have made it here,
Yeah.
and I don't want to fuck it up because I'm really loving life now. Like I feel like we don't have enough time. Life is too fucking short. There's not enough time to do everything that you want to do, and this like life is a fucking party, and even when it's hard, life is fucking party. I don't want it to end,
Mm.
and I don't want to lose my mobility as well. I want to keep the party going. I want to keep the party going until there is a convincing virtual reality for me to live in once my body stops working.
Yeah, I've heard your views on Ready Player One and how you think that's
Yeah,
real realist. The book, that is, not the movie, which I agree. I read the book first, then the movies, they got to get asses in the seats. But the book was, very compelling. And I agree with you. I wonder where that's gonna go. Edward, what a great pleasure talking with you, man. I look forward one day to meeting face to face and having, a cup of tea and coffee with you. And I
that'd be
wish
great.
you all the success. Let me know if I could help in any way. And how long, much more are you in Warsaw? Are you coming back to the States?
I might return in May or
I
June.
see.
Yeah, I might return to, but I think it'll only be for a couple of months, and then maybe I'd go back to Barcelona or something. So yeah, but I'll be back. I'll be back
Very
soon.
cool, Edward. Thanks you so much for your time. I wish you well. You be well.
Thank you, Joe. Bye.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations.